I lift my hands in total adoration unto you. You reign on the throne, for you are God and God alone. Because of you, my cloudy days are gone, and I can sing to you this song. I just wanna say that I love you more than anything. I lift my hands in total adoration unto you. You reign on the throne, for you are God and God alone. Because of you, my cloudy days are gone, and I can sing to you this song. I just wanna say that I love you more than anything. Love me in your arms. You are my shelter from the storm. When all my friends were gone, you were right here all along. I'll never know a love like this before. I just wanna say that I love you more than anything. Love me in your arms. You are my shelter from the storm. When all my friends were gone, you were right here all along. I'll never know a love like this before. I just wanna say that I love you more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you that I love you more than anything. Oh, I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you that I love you more than anything. Oh, I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you that I love you more than anything. I love you, Jesus. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you that I love you more than anything. Lord, I love you more than anything. Lord, I love you more than anything.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Testimonies and Tea. I'll be your host, Yolanda. So we've done ladies' night, we've done men's night, and today is couples' night. So shortly, I will invite all our couples onto the panel so they can introduce themselves, and we'll sort of delve edge into what it means to represent God within your marriages. So I'll just ask the couples to show themselves. Fabulous. So as an icebreaker, if you guys can just sort of introduce yourselves and how long you've been married for, so we can get to know you guys. I'll start with Lucchin and Mel.
Okay, so my name is Melissa, and this is my husband. And we have been married for a year and a few months.
Fabulous. And then we'll move on to Zanie. Do you want to introduce yourself and your husband?
Sorry.
Okay.
My name is Zanie, and this is Adio, my husband. We've been married for how long already?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. We got married last year, October.
Oh, okay. Congrats. We've got young couples. And last but not the least, we have Auntie Non and Uncle Marven. Do you want to introduce yourselves and how long you've been married for?
Okay. My name is Auntie Nothando, and that's Uncle Marven. We've been together for 20 years and married for 14.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Love to see. Love to see.
You guys are making us feel ancient.
You're not ancient. We're looking to you for wisdom. So before we sort of get into the topics we have, I'm going to ask the ladies in each couple to sort of say, what was the one trait that attracted you to your partner? So nothing physical. What was one characteristic that you saw in them that you thought, actually, they may be the one for me? So we'll start with Melissa and then go back in the order we came from. So Mel, what did you see in Lucchin? One characteristic that you saw in Lucchin?
Yeah, Mel.
A lot of things right at the beginning.
One.
The most one that I would say is that he was just a very nice guy. Like literally, he was just really nice, like manners and everything. And we kind of like, I felt that he was my best friend. So like that friendship, that bond. So yeah, he was just really nice. And
that is cute. And Zanie, what did you see in your partner, one trait that you saw in them that you've not said fell in love, but that attracted you to them?
I just loved the fact that nothing was forced. Everything just flowed. Some guys would come and you are forced. You literally feel like you're forcing yourself into their lives. With this guy, everything just flowed. There was nothing, no effort. It was effortless. I could really feel that it was just by divine design. I just knew it. Yeah.
Oh, that is lovely. That is lovely, I have to say. And Aunt Non, what did you see in Uncle Marven when you first saw him? One trait that you thought,
I'm trying to think. He's a prayerful man. He was a prayerful man. He is a prayerful man.
Thank you guys for all sharing. I hope we're all ready. So we're going to diverge into 3 topics today. So we've got ministry, and we'll touch on communication, and then we'll end with intimacy. So we'll all chip in. Unfortunately, I will not be chipping in because I'm not married. I'm just here to listen in. So you can chip in amongst yourselves. So to begin with, as a couple, so if we start back with Lucchin and Mel, what do you think your ministry is as the Muchinas? Do you have a common ministry? Or I know Mel sings, but what is your ministry as a home?
I would say we love bringing people together. So literally, like all our single friends, we're like hooking them up to someone, and we're like, come experience this thing called marriage. So we just literally we love just being people together, and nothing more than just like having other friends also like experience that love that you also experience. Like we just don't want anybody to miss out. So literally, yeah, that's what I'd say. We do that a lot together. So yeah, what would you say?
Okay, I think we have ministry in terms of individually, then collectively. Collectively, for instance, like what she just mentioned. Individually, I'd say baby Melissa singing, as you know, and as you saw with the video that was playing. Myself, that's a difficult one.
You're a good teacher.
Well, yeah, I do like having. Why are you laughing, Yolanda? Do you want to tell us something?
I'm not in your home.
Okay. Yeah, I do like I do like teaching and just reading a lot about the Bible and having those kind of discussions with people. I just think it's good for us to learn the Bible and actually stay informed. So that's how I think I do my part in that regard.
And Zanie and Adi, what is your ministry as a couple? What do you think your purpose is as a union?
I think definitely teaching and inspiring. That is one thing that we have always said. We've always said, you know, people have this horrible image of marriage. They talk about how marriage is so difficult. Oh, the first year is worst. And, you know, there's a lot of negativity around it. And we have literally made it our mission to prove everybody wrong and to say, this is a beautiful thing and it's a gift from God. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Thank you.
basically that's it. We feel that our mission, our ministry is changing the perception around the whole institution of marriage. Because if you've seen right now the world over, the institution of marriage is breaking down. Divorces are rampant, and then we have people who are saying, "Why get married?" You know, you have people who say things like, "Marriage is a war zone." When you get married, you have to accept that eventually he'll cheat, and that eventually she'll get ugly and she'll start nagging you, but you just have to, you know, enjoy it. And we have said it doesn't have to be that way, because he who created the institution of marriage intended for it to be amazing, to be wonderful. Remember, the first couple lived in paradise in the Garden of Eden. So if the person who created marriage intended for it to be amazing, to be lived in a paradise, why then should it be something where you have to endure? You know, so we try to tell as many young people as possible that you can find the perfect partner. You can find that person, and then the two of you can actually have fun and, you know, just be happy and love each other.
Oh, thank you. I think, you know, it's very encouraging hearing, you know, such young couples speaking so positively, you know, and using biblical references, you know, that, you know, it was created by God. So if we go to our seasoned couple, what is your, our more mature couple, what is your ministry as a union? What do you think your ministry is?
I think it was youth. From day one, we always said our home will be a place where we will teach and inspire and guide the youth. And in a way, I think that's exactly what we've done. I work with the youth, or with the young children and youth within the church, and he does the same outside the church. So I think that's our ministry, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, in terms of suppose of responding to your other question in terms of our ministry as well. My wife sings and I preach. So yeah.
I can say we have witnessed their ministry because we've been to their house a few times. And it's always such a blessing to go to their house, honestly. So yeah.
So you are living proof of their ministry?
Definitely.
That is good. So we're going to move on into communication, and we're going to touch on different things, and I'll ask different couples different questions so we can better understand how you guys communicate with each other and how that impacts, you know, your platonic relationships with other people and how you interact. So to begin with, Melissa and Lucchin, as a young couple, how do you deal with your finances? And how do you communicate this in an amicable way when it comes to finances?
Okay. Well, the way we deal with them, I think, because we recently got married, we tend to, I get my salary, she gets hers. We come together, put the money together, find out what it is that we need to handle. So in terms of bills, etc., we pay that, and then whatever is outstanding, we also put it towards what are the things we collectively choose to do. So I guess the key word is, you know, it's not my money, it's not just her money, it's our money, even though, you know, it will have come from where I'm working or where she's working.
But I would say, like, especially right at the beginning, it wasn't always like the easiest because I was like, you know, it's my money, but you know, I kind of like came to terms like, you know, it actually works a lot better if you're together rather than separate. So by me just saying no, like I just want to use my money for whatever that I want to buy, and do that. It was kind of selfish in a sense, but also it's hard to make financial plans like for the future if you're working sort of in different entities. So yeah, I think coming to the point where we're like, okay, it's not my money, it's not your money, but it's our money, and us trying to sort of get through that. We also had like a few debts as well, like before we got together, and now it wasn't just it's your debt and that's other person's debt, but it's our debt now, because essentially we're together and we're trying to make a better future for ourselves. So yeah, like clearing that off, which has been really a challenge, but by us coming together, it's given us more of a better chance to sort of like get everything sorted out and then get ready, I don't know, to buy a house, and whatever that we want to do is a lot better when we're trying to work together.
I know the question was for Lucchin and Mel, but the other couples, how do you guys sort of deal with finances? And is it like a hot topic in the household, or is this something that you just do seamlessly without thinking about it?
I think finances will always be a hot topic. It's never going to be a subject that's easy. And actually, it's one of the reasons why couples end up divorcing. It's finances. It's how the other spouse handles finances. For us, like Melissa, we struggled. I personally struggled. I used to take care of myself. And then I had to stop because I had children. So I had to then now depend on him. And for the first couple of years, it was very difficult because I wasn't used to having to sit down to say, what are we going to do? But I think we kind of found our own way of making it work, and that we bring the money together and we discuss on this is where we're going. This is how we're deciding to spend our money. And
yeah, I think my wife is right. It was a battle. It wasn't easy, but I think as our circumstances changed, things got a lot more better. And I think the value base of anything really when it comes to finances is that willingness to lose yourself in the process and look at the best interests of what you guys are trying to build, and that's the most important thing. And I think for me it was also a struggle. I think my struggle as a man, and this is a burden for every man in any household, it's always about how do you provide and how do you ensure that there is no want or need that is not met. But it took a while. But as my wife says, that what we ended up having to do was to collectively have we've got a joint savings account. So pretty much all our outgoings when it comes to our mortgage at home, they all come out of my wife's account. So my responsibility, and I know it sounds a bit of an old cliche, my responsibility is to bring as much money as I possibly can at home and allow my wife to spend as much as she possibly can. So really my role really is to bring more money than she can possibly spend. And that's my responsibility. So I ensure I do that. And when my wife asks me for money or say that we need this, I don't complain. And I always say that, look, it's my responsibility to ensure that we've got money going at home. And as long as I'm alive, she should never have to have a want of money when I'm alive.
I hope all the youth are listening to this very important point you've just made. And Zanie and Adi, how do you guys handle finances within your home?
I feel like, both couples have actually touched on everything. It's basically the same concepts. It's our money. There's no my money, your money. And yeah, I think, it's not like it's been easy. We've had difficulties in terms of managing finances, not like having fights over finances, no. But that it's just, it hasn't been easy. But then the fact that you both know each other so well, and that you hold the same values, and you understand and you know where you're going, you won't be so worried. I think, like he said, you're willing to lose yourself and lose some ideals in your mind, because, I mean, come on, we just got married in October. We are still building up. and just be hopeful that you will get to a stage where you want it to be where it is.
And whilst I still have you guys, how have you guys dealt with communicating with your family? So, for example, you're newly married, you now have in-laws. Has that been challenging, or are you pretty much easygoing with your in-laws?
For us, the communicating with the in-laws has been one of the most has been the easiest of things to do, because I think we already initiated communication with the in-laws before marriage. So already my mom knew there was Zanele somewhere. There was Zanele coming. And I actually remember having dinner with her parents, her dad, her mom, way before we got married. So already I was communicating with her dad on Facebook. Of course, not so much with her mom, but more with her dad on Facebook and even on WhatsApp. So when then eventually we got married, it was like that has been the case. So for us, it's been easy because in terms of things like communication, usually what happens is if her parents want something, they actually come to me. And then I'm the one who then says, Dad called and he was saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like just before this meeting, her mom actually called, check, because she she has been running away from taking her BP meds. So her mom actually called me and said, did she do A, B, C, D? Is this happening? So that's how it happens. And when my mom needs anything whatsoever, even if to just check up on me, she calls her and says, how's Moako?
Oh, that's nice. So you sort of had the foundation built pre-marriage, so it's been an easy transition, I'm guessing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now with Lucchin, how do you guys deal with each other's in-laws? I know you go and visit them quite frequently. Do you have a good relationship with them?
Yeah, I'd say we have a great relationship with them, to be honest. That I think we were both just raised to see them as just our parents, even though they're not the ones that gave birth to you. So Melissa's mom and dad are pretty much mom and dad to me. When I go there, mom, dad just integrates into the family. I'm just like a son, just like that. The 2 boys they already have. Likewise, when Melissa comes at our house as well. So it works out very well that way. There's not really any problems. I think how you were raised does matter in how you then look at the whole scenario and how you handle it.
I don't obviously want this to be. I want this to be as honest as possible. And I think like with in-laws, sometimes it can be like difficult. But again, a great relationship doesn't mean that you don't have, sometimes friction. So also that's okay. So sometimes people can bump heads, whatever the case may be. But ultimately, the most important thing in a great relationship is able to overcome whatever that you then go through and then manage to just turn a new page, turn a new leaf. Just like my relationship with my husband, sometimes we have issues, sometimes we don't, but forgiveness and being able to move forward is then what keeps us together. So I think also, as I was saying, like with the in-laws thing, great relationship doesn't mean you never have any problems or issues. It's just a matter of if there is something that has, arose, or, you can be able to get through it and just, pray together, pray about it, and sort of move forward.
Okay. So just to sort of recap, because Antonin and their connection got lost. So we're speaking about speaking with in-laws and how you communicate. And Zanie and Adi were saying pre-marriage, they had great relations with their in-laws. They used to speak all the time. So when they got married, it was an easy transition. And Lucchin and Mel, Lucchin was saying, he feels like he's part of the family, he's one of the sons. And Mel said, relationships can have hiccups, but, you have to work on them. You guys, have you had any issues with your in-laws, or how do you communicate with the in-laws?
Well, I think with us, it's a bit different in the sense that both my parents are late. So when we were dating, my wife only just had just a small stint with my mother, in the sense that she just spoke to her once, if not twice, at the time when she was alive. But other than that, she's never met my parents. But she has met my other extended family members, like my dad's young brothers and my aunties and stuff like that. But pretty much my experience in terms of the in-laws, I must say it's been always great. I think, you know, I've in-laws who are very supportive, and pretty much they've embraced me and taken me in as a son. I've been blessed on that front.
Okay. So the next question we have, and we'll be starting with you guys, is do you feel the way you communicate with each other as a couple, do you feel that impacts the way you relate to your kids?
Yes, it does, because we're a family. We live together, so they can tell the days when mommy and daddy are not on good terms. They sense it. It's normal. It's so the way we communicate does have an impact on the kids. It does.
And I think one of the things that we are learning, because being a parent is not one thing that you're learning and you've got all the qualifications. It's something that you learn, I suppose, for the rest of your life. Even when you're dealing with your adult children, it's always going to be an experience that you also learn. But I think what the most important thing is understanding having a very good understanding of what you guys want to get out of parenthood and what you want to bring into parenthood for your children. I think that's the most important thing. As you're raising your children, it's not losing my identity as father and my wife's not losing her identity as a mother, and combining them together to enable our children to have the very best foundational beginning.
And this is a question for anyone, question to the floor. How do you guys as couples manage disappointments, and how do you manage expectations within your homes?
Well, for us, I think disappointments is kind of like the same as having an issue with something. Like if I'm disappointed with him or disappointed about an outcome or whatever, it means I have an issue. And we basically have a rule. You don't go to bed with an issue. Just lay it out. Even if it means we're going to be up until 3 a.m. trying to iron out whatever it is, let's just lay it out. I think honesty and openness really just deals with it. So just deal with the issue and get it over and done with. Like, I can't deal with dragging an issue. I don't like it. So I'd rather we talk it over and yeah.
And also I think part of the conversation of our methods of dealing with disappointments, with issues, is also praying. We are very strong believers in the power of prayer. That's our pre-marriage counselors taught us that marriage is a triangle. There is myself on the right side, Zanie on the left side, and then there is God at the top. So whenever we have issues, I go to God and say, look, the person you gave me is giving me issues. And then she goes and says, God, the person you gave me is giving me issues. And then what happens is we meet there, and then God says, okay, fine, I hear you. What's going on? And then in looking for God to solve our issues, we find each other. So we always pray, especially together and as well as individually, that whenever I feel like there's something which is not going well in our house, I pray about it. She does the same. We pray together, and then somehow God is enabling us. So you find that when you have issues, and also that rule she mentioned, that no one goes to bed without an issue solved, we are managing.
Just to add on to something similar that they were saying, really, we have a new rule, and the rule is the rule of thumb is we're supposed to pray every single night at a certain time. And if we have an issue or have some kind of disappointment, it has to be discussed before we pray, but we have to pray. So you have to make sure you discuss it and come to a place where you can now come together and pray before you actually go to bed. So I think that helps make things work better. Because if it was sometimes, let's say, up to whatever it is that we want, me personally, sometimes if I have an issue, I'm fine just, chilling, being like that for maybe like a day or two, and it doesn't really affect me maybe as much as it might affect Melissa.
So
it's good. So it's good for to have that rule to then be considerate for how somebody else is feeling in that situation, because it's not just about me, it's about the both of us. And peace is better than having conflict anyway. So yeah.
I think that was a very nice segue that Adi brought in, the prayer aspect, because the next question was actually going to be, do you feel your personal relationship with God affects your intimacy with your spouse?
I was listening to a sermon by, I was just telling my husband, I'm obsessed with the late Pastor Pearson, and he was actually talking about that. And he's saying, you cannot expect to know what love is if you're disconnected from the original love, who is God himself. So you can go and climb the mountain and bring the world to them, but if they are not connected to God, they will not understand what real love is. So number one is you have to be connected to God himself, because he is love, for you to understand what love is, and for you to be able to give that love to your spouse, to your husband or your wife. So he's like the others have said, he's the foundation of love. So how can you be intimate with someone if you don't have that love in the first place?
Any comments, additional comments?
I think the other spin to that, and I actually like what Lucchin was saying, and I actually identify with that. I think in my first few years of marriage, sometimes even up to today, I need my space. When we have conflict, I need my space, and that, to me, I always find it as a good place for me to just escape in my thoughts, resolve and deal with certain things, because I just don't like lashing out at my wife, but I prefer to have a place where I can zone out. One thing I've taken on now is gardening, and I enjoy gardening. So when I come home, and if there's anything, or whether there's conflict or no conflict, but if I just want to escape, problem solve, I prefer to go into the garden and just sort out my grass. It just allows me to zone out. It understands that when I need space, I can stare at a wall, really totally blank, but that's absolutely fine because he understands. And when we have conflict, there are times when she leaves me alone. There are times when she wants to talk. But in my first early years, when I used to be told that, oh, can we talk? It used to trouble me big time, because I think, oh, what have I done? And but over a period of time, I actually started, and I think it was a change of mindset, because can't remember who I listened to at one point, who said that actually you need to enjoy it when somebody approaches you and say, listen, can we have a conversation? And he said, it's your time to actually have a conversation and engage. So now, whenever I'm approaching and my wife turns around and says to me, can we talk? I'm fine. But also as well, understanding that I can still say what I need to say, looking below the belt.
So I think whilst we're still in intimacy, I was sort of going to ask, do you think intimacy, is only in the bedroom, or are there various ways that you can illustrate to your other half that, you're being intimate with them? So we'll start with Lucchin and Melissa.
I would say there are various ways. And when we first started dating, we did this love language test, and we found out each other's love languages. And then it gave us a broader perspective of, how to love each other and to be intimate with each other in a way that both of us would appreciate in different ways. So, for example, my husband is more like an action person. He might not say I love you, which we're working on, but he will act it out. I will never doubt that he loves me, because his actions are always showing. He's always making sure I'm good. But I like to hear it. So I say it to him all the time, but he doesn't receive it the same way. So I had to learn that, I have to act it out to him, and then he has to say it to me, so that, we sort of build that intimacy within how we prefer to be loved. And obviously the bedroom is the ultimate. But I think intimacy comes from, the root, which is sort of emotions, or how we would like to be loved.
I totally agree. just to say it's very difficult, but you know, it needs a willing heart. And if you have a willing heart, you know, nothing is impossible. You can absolutely do it.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Okay, and Zanie and Ade, what would be your response to intimacy? Do you just think it's reserved for the bedroom, or is it something you should just pretty much live out throughout your day?
Definitely, it's something that you really just live out throughout your day. I think similar to what Melissa was saying, I don't like soccer. I honestly do not like it.
Same.
But for a long time I was resisting it. I didn't see it. I only started seeing it recently because Adi would say things like, oh, I used to always imagine a woman who would at least be interested in soccer. Or, oh, oh, you put on soccer, then it's like, babe, so do you know who that player is? So that's Pogba, and that's whatever. And I'm there on my phone and what. So one day, just recently, I was just sitting there and my phone was actually just boring me, and I was like, okay, let me watch soccer. And then I realized how closer we actually got. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm so blind and I'm stupid. Like, this guy was hinting this whole time that he would want me to at least show just a little bit of interest in something that he's interested in. So yeah, now I watch soccer sometimes.
Well done.
And I will put on my status, supporting Man U and everything. So I think just try something new and, just make your person happy. Just a little effort, So yeah. Definitely.
Okay, thank you. And how do you guys show intimacy, or how do you practice intimacy as a couple?
How do we show intimacy as a couple? I think it's part of what Melissa and Lucchin mentioned about love languages. For us, I think there is no no singular way of saying this is me now showing intimacy. But personally, I'm a sapiosexual. I'm attracted to brains, which is why I ended up with someone with someone in the medical field, a field I completely have no knowledge about. And for me, just her explaining, like when for example, when I hear giving a presentation explaining medical terms, for me, I just feel like, oh my God, this is it. So for us, how we show intimacy is in the little things, in of course a lot of physical intimacy, hugs almost all the time. Literally, holding hands almost all the time, and just also saying it a lot. Saying it out a lot, like, telling your person that you appreciate them and that I love you randomly. And also, every time she dresses up, every time she does makeup, just mentioning, Gudsha, I love how you're looking. I love your makeup. I love your dress. I love how those jeans look on you. That kind of thing.
Oh, that's cute. Thank you. And Non and Uncle Marvin, how do you guys, what's your view on intimacy? What's your take?
Do you know what? Listening to you guys talk makes me realize how 14 years can change you, and sometimes not even in a good way. The reason I say that is it's easy for the longer you come in, you stay in your marriage, you think as loving husband. But I'm a touchy-feely type of person, but I've got kids, so you kind of you tend to focus mostly on the kids and focus less on yourselves. But our way of intimacy, I guess, is we always keep in touch throughout the day. Hello, hey babes, I miss you. Are you okay? A quick call, things like that. Football bit, he's tried, I tried. I'm an Arsenal fan, he's an Arsenal fan, so by force, by fire, I'll stand by him in that aspect. He taught me to love cars. I now enjoy cars. We can go maybe just and look at cars and, admire houses. We like that together. So I think over the years, I think we've tried, haven't we?
I think so. Yeah. I think intimacy really pretty much for me has always been that, that I have for her, just to show how much I appreciate her. So for me, things I grew into, when I first met my wife, I had a certain visual picture that I actually wanted to see her, or the kind of style I needed to see her embracing over years, and I had to work on that. So I know my wife loves shoes, and I've promoted that. So if it meant that on one occasion, if I decide, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna go and buy a pair of shoes. I've had a little sneak preview of seeing her looking at this type of shoes. I walk in and buy those shoes and bring those shoes to her, and that's just my way of saying, hey, you matter to me. And it could be a bag, it could be a perfume. So just those little things that I can throw in there just as a way of saying that, look, you matter to me, you mean a lot to me. So I've done those. But yeah, in terms of shoes, I take shopping. You name it, I do.
To be honest, he is a very good gift giver. For half the shoes I have, he's the one who goes out to buy. Not because I hate buying shoes, but it's the excitement you can see in his eyes when he's bought me.
You get to know. Sometimes we say that, look, it's not always the material things, but that token of appreciation. And I know my wife spends a lot of time with our children, very long hours. When I come back home, sometimes my children are probably just about to go to bed. I know she would have had a stressful day, but just that appreciation of something I can just say, listen, I know you've had this throughout the day, but I was thinking of you, and I thought of getting this for you. So I've gone on to get some crazy and ridiculous things in the past, but that's my way of appreciation.
Oh, love to see it. I think we're all learning loads on here. I think just to finish off, as a couple, what's one thing you would advise those who are maybe looking to follow into your footsteps? What have you learned on this journey? So not touching on the topics we've covered today, but what's one thing you would sort of advise people who are either courting or who are about to get married? What's one thing you've learned that you'd sort of impart with them? So we'll start with Lucchin and Melissa.
I would say that marriage is a beautiful thing, especially when you get into it with your best friend, or somebody that you consider a friend, to the level where you can open up and talk to them, because essentially you're spending the rest of your life together, and there's no way out unless you're trying to get out. But you don't get married to get out. So obviously it's important that you find somebody that you can really open up to, and just be genuine and authentic. And also, you want to add something?
Make sure you know yourself before actually trying to find somebody to be with, because that's very important in terms of compatibility. Because you can't get somebody who's a perfect match for you when you do not know who you are. For our purposes, since we are Christians, I think it's very, very important to have Christ as your center, because marriage is about being selfless. And if you do not have Jesus Christ as your center, then you will struggle a lot, because you will have to wrestle with the whole me idea when you actually get married. Thirdly, when I say marriage is good, it is also hard work at the same time. So I don't think it's good to be very honest about it. It is hard work, because it's two people that grow up at different places with sometimes different values coming together and having to coexist. That can cause for a whole lot of tension, but it can also be a very, very beautiful thing. At the end of the day, it's what you make of it, that ultimately decides what it becomes for you. Yeah, I think that's what I'll say.
Okay, thank you. And Zanie and Adi, anything you would sort of advise on those who want to follow your footsteps?
For me, I think I would
I mean, we've been married for a short while, so I would want to touch more on the journey towards meeting your life partner. That I think one thing, some young girls actually come to me and ask me how I did it, how it happened. And one thing I always say is it's God, and it will always be God's timing. Um, the wait was unbearable. But I mean, it's beautiful to actually wait and then find the perfect partner. And I always say to people, like when I'm talking to young girls, I say to them, don't wait and you just waiting there and you're like, okay, so please come, Mr. Right, please come. No, just you're waiting, yes, but then you are working towards your own purpose in life. Work towards your purpose, because it is in finding your purpose in life that you're actually going to find your life partner. I have told people several times that my life is so perfectly fit to his. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. My life is so perfectly fit to his purpose. Like it was like the missing piece. It was like the fuel that I needed for so many things that I want to do in my life. It's like man, I don't even know how to describe it. To be honest, like, yeah. It's in finding your, yeah, I think it's in finding the purpose that you actually find your partner. It's in the same way
Yes,
that we
thank
were
you
talking
guys
about
so
that
much for
triangle. When you're
joining us
moving closer
tonight,
to God,
and
you're
we just
moving
want to
closer to your
continue to pray
purpose.
that whatever
And when you're
advice,
getting to the top, that
wisdom,
is where you're going to find your
experiences
partner,
that you learned
because
from this
you,
episode,
as like what
that
we
you were
were
able to
talking
apply
about,
to your
that you're
marriage,
going to
whether
have
it's in
a
the current
ministry as
marriage
a
or
couple
your
together.
upcoming
Now, that's
marriage.
not
Please do
going to
let us
work
know. We
if your
do
purposes
want to
are
attend
like
weddings
this. You have
anytime
to meet
soon,
somewhere.
and we just want to
So
thank
definitely
God
just
that you've
work
been given this
towards your
opportunity
own
to learn. So
your
do
purpose,
join us
you will
next
find
week
your
as we
partner.
are going to be tuning into another episode, and have a lovely evening.
I think for me is number one, marry your friend. Actually, number one, look for someone who's God fearing. Because the Bible clearly says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added unto you. That's your number one. Number two, you marry your friend, because it is nice in the first year, the second year, the third year, but 20 years later, 50 years later, God granting you life, you should still be able to sit down and chat and laugh with your best friend. And I think the third one, I know you said one thing, and the third point would be you have to learn to be selfless, because you can never walk into marriage putting yourself ahead of anything. Because once you do that, then what's the point of getting married? There is no point at all. So being selfless, I think for me, those are the three I could think of.
I think for me, it's a bit odd or a bit of a cliche, but I would say be consistent. In marriage, you will go through cycles, like in any relationship. So you will go through go through your summer times, but be consistent throughout all of them. And be God fearing and staying consistent is a very important thing. So don't ask God to remove you from a turbulent time, but ask God to help you to be a grateful person. So those are the few things that I would encourage you to change, but always be consistent in everything that you do.
Oh, thank you. I think just sort of to round up what everyone has been saying, I think the main key themes that seem to be popping up from each couple is very much, put God at the center, that, when you do seek that person, or even when you're married, to always have God, central and key to whatever you do. And I think we also touched on being aligned with your purpose, as, if you're aligned with your purpose, that will also affect your ministry within the home. And when you also do have kids, it's everything sort of is in sync and the synergy there. And we also touch on communication and how everyone deals with finances, which is a big factor in marriage, and how you relate to others and others around you. I'd like to thank all our couples for coming on today and for just sort of, imparting their wisdom and what they've learned over the years with us. And I hope that God may bless their homes, and, that, they may remain married and may always be happy. And just to finish off, if I can ask Lucchin to pray for us to finish off our program. Lucchin, can you pray for us, please?
Yep, let's pray. Our kind and loving Father, what above, I'd like to thank you, Lord, for this program. I would like to thank you for everything that has been discussed here. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to learn from one another, Lord. Please help us to implement these things that we've learned here, these words of wisdom into our lives. May they help us grow in wisdom and not just benefit ourselves, but benefit other people, Lord, and help us to be walking lights so others can also learn as we're reflecting what you expect of us. Be with us as we're going to go through the rest of the week until we meet again. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you guys.